After a play has been chosen, each member of the design team starts working on their special aspect of the production. In some cases, designers may know about a play months in advance, which gives them plenty of time to dream up ideas. But a more normal theatrical production, designers have about 6 weeks before rehearsals start. Let's start with designing a set. What does it take to design a good set?
I'm looking as a set designer to make fun environments for actors. When I started doing this, I knew that if I could build a good set, if I could design a good set, it would actually help the actors act better.
It's fun to try to create a playground and kind of try to create an opportunity for actors to sort of like enjoy and kind of be connected to the space. Me coming at it as a non-actor myself, I'm not much of an actor, and so like I don't have that sort of innate feeling of how to connect with the space and how to connect with your surroundings as an actor, and so it's fun to try to create an environment that could have a lot of potential for other people who do feel that connection.
I want an actor to get on my set and I want them to have fun. I want them to feel like, oh, this is cool. I want actors to feel like this is a jungle gym playground that helps them to pretend. And so it kind of helps us to revert back to that innate sense that we all had as children, where we were on the playground, we were on the jungle gym, but it wasn't a jungle gym, it was a ship or it was a rocket. And so I want to create environments on stage that bring actors back to that feeling, because if an actor is feeling that way, they're really going to sell it for an audience, which then again ultimately is going to help tell that story. And then the other part of that is you want to make something pretty for the audience. I love building models by hand. I don't always do that, and now there are some neat programs that help you to design on the computer. But either way, it's really great to have a 3D rendering that you can kind of walk through. If it's an actual tangible model, you know, it's fun to kind of hold it. And if I'm not directing the show, I can point to a director and say, okay, this is where Hamlet goes over, and now he's talking to Gertrude. Polonius is gonna be hiding behind this fabric, and I'm gonna have the fabric right there. 3D models mean everything. But you can actually be a really solid designer and not have the greatest drawing skills. There are people who can draw two-dimensional renderings fantastically well. But for me, I'm a better model builder. It really helps me to make a model. And then once you make a model, it's really easy for me to then build it big. For Snow Queen, for example, the show that we're working on right now, much of this was I had a lot of pictures that I was deriving inspiration from. I was trying to figure out how am I going to take all these cool Pinterest photos that Emily sent me and sort of utilize them in interesting and different ways. Sometimes it's an extemporaneous experience. I try not to design that way most of the time, but for things that are organic, like rocks and trees, sometimes you don't know what you're doing until you do them. We've got trees on the stage that I know how to do because I've done them before, and basically we call them sock trees. We've had them in our stock and they go up quickly and they're a very solid way to do trees. But in the front, we were trying something completely different, and these were based on some photos that we saw of a Tom Price art installation. We didn't know how to do those from the pictures that we were given, but we decided, well, you know what, we can go to our local home store and we can try it with drainage tile. And so we dropped drainage tile tubes down from the catwalks and then we tied them in knots. That's how we did it. Now when we're tying those tubes into things that look like trees, you still make little models of them. They're just not finished. So, you know, I took little PEX tubing and I did it in microcosm. I did it in 1/2-inch scale and I built it on a ladder that we just happened to have in the prop room. But it worked. We picked our favorites and then we tried tying the trees in knots based on the models that we had suspended between the rails of this ladder. Sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes you're basically working with cursory ideas and you've got your ideas, they're not fully fleshed out yet, but you know that something will work. You know that you can at least commit. For the Snow Queen set, it was really interesting because I needed the Snow Queen to be able to walk down steps, and she's gonna be wearing heels. And so I couldn't just make it like rocky, tumbly hillside. I knew that she had to actually walk down steps, but I still wanted the set to look organic. So I started making these organic shapes that kind of ended up looking like half circles and paisley shapes. Then we give this to our technical director. I knew this was going to be a challenge to try to draft how you're going to make these things. And this is how we are living in the future, because what he did is he took the SketchUp file and had a printer print them to scale on a large format printer. So we had these big, giant patterns that we put on pieces of plywood, and it worked. That's another thing that I guess I love about theater and the creative process, is that nobody's really an island in creativity, and everybody is helping each other. So I've got my creative ideas. I pass those creative ideas off to another very creative person. That creative person has a team of other creative people that are working with them. You just gotta make sure you're all talking, you're all communicating, and great things happen when many minds come together for a single purpose.